Okay, yesterday we added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided functions. Now, another way we're going to combine functions today is called a composition. And this is what a composition looks like. Off to the side, please write how you're going to say this. This is spoken as f of g. That is how you say this, f of g. If there's an x right here, we'll say f of g of x. If there's a 3 right here, we'll say f of g of 3. If there's a 13 right here, we would say f of g of 13. That is how that is said, okay? Now, what this means is we are going to put g of x inside of f of x. We're going to put g of x inside of f of x. That's what a composition means. We're going to put g inside of f. So let's look at an example of this. Here's the first one. You can think of this as putting g inside of f. We're going to put g inside of f. So guys, go ahead and write f nice and big. We have a 5. Instead of an x, please put parentheses where the x would go. Then copy down the minus sign and the 3. Wherever you see an x, just put parentheses there. Now, I am going to put g inside of f. So I'm going to put an x minus 1 in here. This is how you do a composition. You put a function inside of another function. Okay, now let's simplify this. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Minus 3. This becomes 5x minus 8. That is your composition. You will see it notated as this, and you'll see it written like this. Let's do another example. This means we're going to put h inside of g. So let's write g nice and big. I'm going to put parentheses where this x is, minus 1. So that's g. I'm going to put h inside of that. So I'm going to put this h right in there. X cubed plus 8. This becomes x cubed plus 7, because 8 minus 1 is 7. So this is the composition. Okay. And guys, you'll see it written like this. You'll also see it written like this. Make sure you understand this means you're going to put h inside of g. H goes inside of g. Let's do another one. This time I'm going to put g inside of h. So I'm going to write h nice and big. That's h. I'm going to put g inside of it. This is g. We're going to put that inside. Whenever I have a cubed, that means you're going to write it 3 times. This means x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 1 plus 8. Question, guys. What if this was a 2? What would you do? You would just write it 2 times. So it'd be like that if it was a 2. But we have a 3, so we're going to write it 3 times. All right, let's multiply it out just bit by bit. Let's multiply these two together. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Now let's do the next item. Negative 1 times x is negative x. -1 times -1 is +1. Okay. So these two together, what do those become when you combine those two? Good, -2x. All right, guys, so we multiplied out the first two. Let's just bring everything else down. So I'll put that in parentheses. X minus 1 plus 8. We just brought this stuff down. Okay, let's continue multiplying, guys. X squared times another x is what? X cubed. X squared times -1, -x squared. Now let's do the next number. I'll erase this. Okay, next number. We're going to do -2x times x. That's -2x squared. -2x times a -1 is a +2x. Finally, 1 times x is x. 1 times -1 is -1. And don't forget to put +8 on the end. I'm going to highlight what's going to be combined. You guys will combine the squared term with the other squared term, right? You're going to combine the x with the other x, and you'll combine the constant with the other constant. Okay, so this will become x cubed is by itself. The squared terms will be -3x squared. This part right here will become +3x, and the numbers will become +7. So this is your composition. And remember, your format can also be written, you'll see it both ways. You'll see it g of x inside of h. You'll also see it written like that. Okay, you guys try the next one on your own. Here's the next one. Check your answer, see if you did it correctly. We're putting f inside of g. So g is x minus 1. We're going to put f of x inside of that. So I'm going to put f of x inside. So this will turn into 5x minus 4. -3 minus 1 is -4. Okay, question, guys. Let's do another problem. Let's do the same exact thing, g of f, but this time instead of an x, I'm going to put a 2. What do you think I'm going to do now? Plug in a 2. So guys, right here, plug in a 2. So what would my answer be? Yep, 10 minus 4 is 6. Do you guys see that? You might see it written like this, or you'll see it written like this. You put a 2 inside of the f. You put the f inside of g. You might see it written like this. You might see it written like this. Okay? What this means is you put the 2 inside of f. You put that answer inside of g. Question, real quick. Actually, not a question. I just want to show you something. This is what we had when we did the composition. We plugged in a 2 and got 6. What you can also do is work backwards. Put the 2 inside of f. So let's put a 2 inside of f. When you put a 2 inside of f, what do we get? 10 minus 3 is 7. Now we're going to put that answer inside of g. So put the 7 inside of g, and what do we get? 6. That's what we have here. So you guys can do the composition and then put the number in, or you can just do 2 inside of f, put that answer inside of g. Okay, there's 2 ways you could do that. Okay, last one. We're going to put g inside of f. G will go inside of f. So again, let's go ahead and write f nice and big. Put parentheses where the x would be. Copy the 2, copy the minus, copy the 3. but where the x is, put parentheses. Copy the minus and the 23. You're keeping it exactly the same. The only difference is wherever you see an x, you put parentheses there, just like we've been doing. Now, I'm going to put g inside of f. So that will go here, and it will go in the other parentheses, x minus 1. So we have put g inside of f. Now remember, whenever I have a squared, what do I write? Exactly, good. I'm going to put x minus 1 times x minus 1. I see a lot of students every year. They'll distribute that 2 and write x squared minus 1 squared. That is not correct. You do not distribute that. You have to write it 2 times. Minus 3 times x minus 1 minus 23. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to let you guys finish this problem, and then I want you guys to come to me for me to check it. Okay, so you should have did x times x, which is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Now do the next one. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. We can bring everything down. Okay, so let's go ahead and combine. I know negative x and negative x, that can be negative 2x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3. And then minus 23. I will highlight what we're going to combine. We're going to combine negative 2x with negative 3x. That will make negative 5x. And then I'm going to combine 1, 3, and negative 23 together. So what we're going to get as a result is x squared negative 5x. 1 plus 3 minus 23 is negative 19. So this is your function after we perform a composition. Now, let's say for this problem, they want us to evaluate this at negative 3. So I'm going to plug in a negative 3 here. So I'm going to erase this x and this x, and we're going to evaluate the function at negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Negative 5 times negative 3 is a positive 15, and then subtracting 19. 9 plus 15 minus 19 is 5. Because 9 plus 25 is 24. 24 minus 19 is 5. So if we evaluate this at negative 3, we get 5.